It's your platform partner, your hustling homie, Jackson 360, all about making it happen. Yes, I'm addicted to action, and I want to speak with my master communicators, my up and coming neophyte communicators, in addition to my Socraton communicators. That's everyone from the beginning entry level, as well as the masters. And I want to speak with you about 5 things that you should have at any speaking event that you do. At most speaking events, I'll say, if you want to capitalize from it, and get some more customers, make some things happen. And typically there's 3 types of speaking engagements for the most part. One, you may be at a seminar, and let me before I go into that, I'll say this: each speaking event, the main thing that'll be different is usually the amount of time that you have to speak. Always remember, one of the most important things when you're speaking is how much time will you have, and that's going to dictate a lot about the type of presentation you're going to give and how you're going to, because at the end of the day, you want people to do something, to think something differently, maybe, or to feel a certain way. In order to get that end result, you got to know how to pace people, right? You don't want to be speaking as if you have an hour and you only really have 5 minutes. You don't want to only be speaking, or be speaking for an hour and you really need to have 3 days to cover what you really want to cover. All right, because then at the end of the day, when you squeeze too much information in, then you're squeezing your audience right out of it. So you want to know the lane that you're in, and you know your lane by how much time you have to speak, and also asking questions and knowing kind of where the audience is at, kind of what they're expecting, and what time you're speaking to them. Those things play a very important role for you to know what you need to bring. So that's very important. You want to know the time of day. Did people just eat? Are people hungry? Things like that is going to impact how you should speak. Should you take a break? Because again, what I was saying is there's 3 types of speaking lanes that you can go to for the most part when it comes to events. So usually the shortest one is like a seminar. If you're at a seminar event, a seminar is usually an hour long. You may only speak for 15 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, depending on if you're the lead speaker. All right. So that's a certain type of approach you got to have when you're only going to be speaking for 15 minutes. Now, if you're going to be speaking at a workshop, that means that's anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, or anywhere from an hour and 4 hours. Now you have a little more time to actually do some work. So your presentation is going to be a little bit different. And I'm going to be speaking today mainly based on a workshop style, meaning if you have at least anywhere from 30 minutes to 4 hours to speak, how should you approach that? That's what my video is primarily going to be about. But the third level that you can do is a training. Like full out training is when you have access to people for at least 8 hours or more. Usually this may be broken up into 2 different days, and you're speaking, you're splitting it up. You're splitting it up into day 1, day 2. People are really breaking out into sessions, right? So that's a different setup there. So you want to know what is the setup that you're walking into. It's very important. Now, when it comes to, let's say, the workshop, meaning 30 minutes to 4 hours. If that's your time frame, you say, you know what, I'm going to speak for an hour. I'm going to speak for 2 hours. All right. So I'm going to tell you at least 5 things that you need. Before I tell you that, here's a general rule of thumb. If you know you have 2 hours to speak 2 hours of time with the people, don't prepare 2 hours worth of talking, because remember, if you squeeze too much information in, you're squeezing people out. All right. Because people can only retain so much, and people learn best when they have a break to absorb, when they can teach themselves, okay, by triggering something in themselves. Remember, when you say something, people doubt it. When people say it to themselves, it's true. I'll talk more about that in a minute. So the general rule is, if you have a certain amount of time to speak, only prepare to actually speak for about 75% of that time, because then you'll have the opportunity to also do questions and answers. And that's what's really most important. If you want to be for real, it's almost best that you start out your presentation going straight into questions and answers. That way you can see what's on people's mind. Even if you don't, I do this a lot. I'll kick off an event and I'll just say, hey, let me hear what are some of the questions that you guys have? And I won't even answer them directly. I'll just want to know. I'll just ask 3 different people. I'll say, what's your question? One person say, hey, I want to know about, oh yeah, how can I build a business? I say, that's a good question. What's another question? Somebody else say, I want to know, how can I just lose 10 pounds over the next 30 days? Okay, that's an interesting question. What's another question? And then they ask something totally different. So now I get an idea to see where the crowd is at. And so now as I get into my presentation, I'm giving my presentation specifically targeting those type of questions that were just asked, because now I know who in the hell is in the audience. If you don't know who is in the audience and you just talking what you just want to talk, you're not going to connect with a lot of people, because you can't treat every presentation exactly the same. So, but that's a whole nother video. I can get into that at another time. I'm giving y'all a lot of information right here, and I'm going against my own rule, because I'm giving you so much. I'm squeezing the information out. But the good thing about this is being video recorded, so you could play it back. So that's the positive. Okay, but when it's not being recorded, or even if you are being recorded, if you're speaking to a live audience and you want them to retain it, and you don't expect them to watch the video, you have to give less information. Okay, less information. All right, the rule of thumb is one main big point every 10 minutes. One major point every 10 minutes. All right, so, all right, let's move past that. So here I'm going to give you, I don't even know if I got time to give you 5 things with all of this time. I'm going over. All right, so I'll give you one anyway, because I'm going to aim to give you 5, because I'm just freestyling off the top of my head right now. All right, so one person it's like a personal position that you want to have. I'm going to give you at least 5. And one of them is you want to have somebody to help give you credibility. Now, credibility usually comes, one way you can get credibility is by getting a testimony. You can have somebody stand up and give a testimony about their experience with you, testimony about a product that they use, or something validating what you just said. So you want to get a testimony. All right, and I'll get another video where I can talk about how to get that. But you want to have something. Now, here's another way you can get a testimony. If let's say, for instance, you're not in a position to get testimonies, meaning you don't have results yet, you don't have a product, you at the beginning stages. If you at the beginning stages of your career and your product or whatnot, then you just want to get somebody to introduce you to give you credibility. Because if you introduce yourself, people are going to doubt you. I mean, you don't look credible when you're the only one representing yourself. People want to see that you're validated. They want to see social proof. It's just like a relationship. If me as a man, when I meet a woman, and she don't know me, she might like me a little bit, but if we go into a setting and there's other people that know me and they're validating me and saying, oh man, Jackson is the coolest dude in the world, I'm going to earn trust points from her, because now I have social proof. So people are looking to see if other people can validate you. So this is why you want to get a secondary person to introduce you. They can do a quick introduction. You can write down an introduction. It could be 30 seconds. It could be 2 minutes. My rule of thumb when it comes to introductions is make sure the introduction is not just all about you and how great you are, because the better that you say that you are, the worse that you're doing, because people, they don't want to buy from a legend. Because if they think you're super special because you done climbed Mount Everest, because you done made $100 million, they thinking in their mind that they can't do what you did because you're different from them. So you want to promote the process, put the process on the pedestal and not the person. All right, my mentor Craig Valentine taught me about that. Check out his page, Craig Valentine. But you want to put the process on the pedestal and not the person. All right, because it's a recipe that you're selling. You want to teach people how to teach themselves by using this process. And that way they don't necessarily need to be dependent on you all the time. Okay. So again, that way your intro I'll have another video where I talk all about the intro. I'll do another video on that. All right. So you get somebody to introduce you real quick, real swift. They give you you tell them kind of what to say, and you don't have to even, it could be written. If it's written, that's cool, but it doesn't have to be written. But you want to at least have like 4 points that they can mention something about, like if you're a fun person, that the information, 100% of it. Maybe they can share a brief story that they shared with you, right? Something like that. But again, I'll go into more detail with that, but you want to have somebody introduce you. That's one. Second, outside of having the person that introduces you, you also want to have make sure you take this backup equipment in general. This is just a bonus because you never know if your technology is gonna run out. You may run out of batteries, so have an extra set of rechargeable batteries. Have an extra computer or extra hard drive, extra laptop if you can, or your own projector if you can, because you never know if the batteries run out, projector may go out. Anything like that can happen. All right, so you want to always have emergency backup stuff just in case, because you don't want to scramble. You don't want for your PowerPoint to go down, and then now you can't give your presentation at all. If it does go down, you need to be good enough where you can give that presentation without the PowerPoint. If you can't do that, then that's going to really hurt you. So you got to know when to come from the heart. You dig what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that in another video. Now, let's get back on track with the point because I'm digressing. So another person that you want to is have a timer. Have somebody that's going to time, have somebody that's going to take that make sure that you stay on subject, that you stay on time, that you start on time, this time that you committed to say that you were going to do, that you're going to end on time, and they're going to say, hey, based on your timing, you running behind in the presentation, you need to speed it up. So that way they can keep you on track. All right. People don't complain when you end early, but people will complain when you went over time. All right. So have a timer that can help you out. Okay. And then you don't want to be screaming. Then the problem is if you're speaking too much and you're going overtime, what happens is you may forget to mention the most important stuff, which is how to close, which is promoting your products, getting money, getting people to sign up to the school, which is the whole purpose on why you spoke. You spoke because you wanted people to do something, to people to feel something, to people to think something. If the only thing you did was speak and you just gave them free information, and at the end of the day, they're not taking any next steps, what were y'all doing? Y'all was just talking or what? That's up to you to determine that. All right, so have a timer. Second is have somebody to collect your money. If you're selling a product, because you should have some type of product program or course or something, don't collect the money yourself. If you have to, then do what you got to do. But you want to have another person collect your money because you're going to, at the end, you're going to have people coming up to you asking you questions. And how can you be taking money for a book and trying to answer questions? It's just, it's an easy way to miscount some money. Also, it's just not a good practice. It's not a good habit to have. You want to have somebody else that's counting the money. And don't get me wrong, you want to know your numbers. You know how much product you have, how much it's worth, and have somebody who you trust on your team. But at the end of the day, if you don't have to take the money, then don't. Plus, it don't look good when you going to your money and you pulling out 20s and 50s or whatever, and you got other people waiting in line to take pictures of you. You want to keep that line moving. Keep your line moving. Come on, buy the product, take the picture. Buy the product, take the picture. Keep it moving. All right. So this is why you want to have maybe a photographer there, have somebody that's counting the money, just a straight up general assistant. That person could also potentially be your timer. If they have to, let them do that too. All right. Okay. So that's very important. Also, another element that you want to have in your presentations is have a section where you allow people to debrief, where at the end of your presentation, where you say, hey, so I want, randomly name one thing that you learned today. Give me one word, give me one sentence that you learned, because you want to make sure that people remember when you say something, people doubt it. When they say it, it's true. So they have to you teaching them to teach themselves, right? Because that's what true knowledge is. If you're just trying to teach them like you got all the answers and your truth is the only truth, then eventually your well is going to run dry, because once you disproven, then what do? And ain't nothing true 100% of the time. So at the end of the day, you should be showing people how to apply the process and how they can be able to use it on their own and come to their own conclusions. People are going to love you more for it. Trust me, they're going to love you more for it. So, be able to debrief people at the end, see what they learn. Have a survey too. You want to always have some type of survey. You can have a written survey, or you can do a verbal survey, or you can do a digital, have people go on the phone and just ask people like 3 questions. How did you hear about me? Boom. What else would you like to learn from me? And give them an option. Would you like to learn astrology? Would you like to learn about business, about health, about relationships, whatever? Because you may be amazed. You may be teaching one thing and people want to learn something totally different from you. So just pay attention to that, seeing what people want to learn. And when you do that with a survey. You can, like I said, you can write the surveys, or you can have a digital survey using a service like Survey Monkey. Uh, and then you can incentivize by people giving people gifts if they do the survey, and then you get their email, because the email is the true inventory anyway, right? You want to collect them emails, because those are the people that is going to show up to events, because most people don't change their emails very often. So that's very important to have. We have 15 minutes. All right. So I can give y'all more people, but I'm not, because I've given you a lot of information already, and I feel like I'm damn near giving y'all too much, especially at 15 minutes. So I'll make another video. If you're still watching this at this point and you want to hear more information about the other people and the processes that you should have at every event to get the most out of it, then I'm gonna need you to subscribe to this page right now. I'm gonna need you to like this video. I need you to share this video with someone else who could use it. Let people know and say, hey, Dwayne is cool. I want to take action with Jackson on communication skills worth millions. That YouTube page is amazing. All right. And then we're going to tell you some more positions. You also might have a bodyguard too. So that way, if somebody try to test you, your bodyguard could just knock a motherfucker out on your behalf, and do it legally where you're not liable. But that's a whole nother video. I don't know. Why did I always at the end and say something reckless? I don't know. You knew it was coming. That's what this channel is about, right? Having fun. So at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, you're going to do what the hell you want to do. This is just advice. So, hey, all I can do is do what I do, is promote this to you and tell you what I know, and I'm going to stay true to that. So we subscribe to the page, and make sure you get the books as well, the whole book series. Sign up to the programs. I look forward to seeing you. And yeah, we're going to continue to build. So thank you. I love y'all for subscribing and working with me. I'm your platform partner. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Peace.